I'll call the meeting to order. Could we all stand for the pledge to the flag, or, let's pledge our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, if we could all pause for a moment of silence. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, everyone, welcome to our meeting tonight. It is June the 9th in the town of Edmonston, our town hall meeting. I appreciate everyone being here this evening. I'm not sure if we have anyone here from our community or surrounding area that would like to speak. And if not, if so, you can go ahead and unmute and let us know if not, we have our guest here from District 3, Prince George's County School Board member, who is not a stranger to us. And we're happy that she's here tonight to update us, just to provide us a report. Ms. Pamela Boozer Struther, if you could just unmute and you can introduce yourself, but we know you very well, and I'm sure so many others do as well. How are you this evening?
I'm doing great, and I'm so glad to be back with all of you, and I appreciate the invitation to present. And, I guess for the recording, for those watching from home, I'm Pamela Boozer Struther. I'm your elected school board representative, and Edmonston falls in District 3. So I happen to be a resident of Brentwood, very close by. So, I'm active in all of our communities and representing our families. And so there's so much has happened since Mayor Gant and the town hosted what I thought was an excellent education forum that we had, now some time ago with Dr. Alvin Thornton when he was still chair of the board. And we had very good conversation about where things were in the school system and what we were going through with distance learning and, the future through a pandemic. And of course, we have all been through so much. And I have to say, as a parent who I'm counting down the days to the end of hybrid learning, the last day of school is next Tuesday, the 15th. So through hybrid since April 8th, you've seen the buses, you've seen families walking, but that's been 30% of our student body return to the buildings. And the overall reports is that it went very well. Of course, we were nervous about COVID spread. That did not happen at the level of our fears. And of course, our staff was vaccinated ahead of time, which made a huge difference. And now that our 12 and up students can be vaccinated, that has been happening, while students are still in the building. So it has been quite a time period in the school system. I just have to shout out to Dr. Monica Goldson, our CEO, who has managed all of these decisions and reported to the board and has worked very collaboratively through this. And here we are tonight. She held a town hall announcing how we're going to reopen September 8th. And that would be full return of students. Every family has the option to come back full time, all the students in the buildings. So in our communities, it's going to look a lot like it used to with, busy bus routes, bus stops, and everything, feeling, back to somewhat normalcy, except for around the sanitation, the continued hand washing, and likely masks, because we don't think there's going to be the full rollout of a vaccine at the elementary level before September 8th. But PGCPS is ready. The funds from federal government, state government, and county have put us in a financial position way better than I think we all predicted for any of our municipalities, agencies. It's early, like last summer during this pandemic. So we are positioned to help our students get back on track, and have had significant programs for our high school students in particular who did disengage. And we have been getting them back in, and have summer programs and other resources, accountability coaches for this summer to help those students get back on track and come back to the building. There's a lot of, I want to talk about a couple of other initiatives that are significant that Edmonston should be paying attention to. The new boundary scenarios have been released. They are on the PGCPS website. This is another 6 to 9 month process for some boundary changes to begin the 2023 school year. I was poking around at some addresses in Edmonston, and there's a little shift thing playing out along Edmonston, the neighborhood in the city of Hyattsville, right there next to Edmonston along the railroad tracks, Brentwood, of some shifting of students between Bladensburg High School and Northwestern High School, and shifting them out of their cohort that our towns have been used to embracing our families around, these cohorts that move together to Bladensburg High School and Northwestern. I'll be talking to everyone about that as we work through these scenarios, because in some cases it takes students, like say an Edmonston student who is in their cohort to Bladensburg, all of a sudden they go to Northwestern, but our Brentwood students go to Northwestern, all of a sudden they're going to Bladensburg. And I just don't know why that is happening. And I will no doubt be talking with the mayors of all the towns as I put in, some commentary on this and figure this out to make sure it's the best scenario to keep our kids in their cohorts, because they want to be with their friends. Like, first and foremost, we watch the cohorts. There will definitely not in Edmonston, but other parts of Hyattsville, more around where we have the cluster of elementary schools, we may see some actual neighborhood cohorts transition between elementary schools, but they'll stay with their cohort through Hyattsville Middle and the new building, and then Northwestern. So those are, I'll pay attention to Bladensburg, this along the districts as well. But I would say, take a few minutes to look up some addresses on this boundary initiative site. When pgcps.org, if you start there, the website has been fully updated and is well organized now. So you could find anything I talk about. There's like really good website information now. That Dr. Goldson has increased communications substantially in the last couple of years in the use of the website. So that's something for sure that I wanted to call out tonight. There's so much more going on, but I thought, let me pause for a moment to see if there's any questions at this point, and see if there's some other, directions you'd like me to head into.
No, that's very interesting information about the boundary changes. That's concerning. And I'm not sure what type of sense that makes either. And there's a trust that we have for Dr. Goldson. So not sure who's leading that way with that boundary change.
Yeah, and there's these scenarios that you can go in and actually comment on what you're seeing there. You could take the survey and say, maybe take one of these addresses, like Ingraham Street is where I see scenario 1 might say stays the same. Scenario 2 might have like just an elementary school change or the high school change. So you could go in and answer the survey and maybe pick like say you look at these cohort that you want to keep together through Bladensburg High School. You could comment specifically on Bladensburg High School and get that process going. We have time. We have time to get our messaging together and show these maps and explain, the cohorts through the Gateway Arts District, the kids move together to Northwestern High School, and then the Port Towns kids are, been stay together through Bladensburg. There's like, the towns work together, there's celebrations. There's some significant, issues to when you split the kids up when they're in a town, especially our small towns clustered here. So I know we can get our message out and make sure we get the best outcome. I'm starting early. I'm starting really early.
I'm going to go on there and look and see what's happening with that.
Yeah.
September 8th, that's the first day of school?
It is the first day of school for everybody. The board will finalize the calendar tomorrow night. There'll be the second reader vote on the calendar. We are anticipating funding and employee agreement for the option to come back a week early. So that will be offered when that is all worked out. That will be offered as a special opportunity, and probably have some recommendations about why your child may be a child that should come back a week early. And maybe that's like, my son went back for hybrid. He knows what it feels like to be in the school building in masks and to be back, like doing online and being back. And it's really different socially, emotionally. Of course, he's thrilled. Our family's thrilled that it all worked out. Maybe there's some kids who haven't been in classrooms since the pandemic, and maybe you want to come back a week early, or have your young one come back and practice masking, moving through the building. So I have a feeling that the school system is going to give us some framework about why your family may want to make that choice, optional choice. And so far, we'll find out very soon if all of our labor partners are in agreement for this. And it seems, because we're getting ready to finalize the budget, and that's in there. So I think that's an interesting, an interesting option that we're going to provide for students. But most of the summer is really focused on the learning, what people call learning loss. The terminology that's most used out there is, the thoughts around some students just didn't keep up a grade level. Everyone's moving, I'm hearing that mostly students will move up their grade level, and they'll get help this summer if there is significant loss in that grade level.
Yeah.
How are folks feeling in town when you talk to families with students? Mayor Gant, did you have students in your family go back to the buildings?
No, I have grandchildren that stayed home. All of mine stayed home. But a lot of with Rogers Heights, we're in close contact with Rogers Heights. Rogers Heights, a lot of the students, I believe, stayed home. They did have some students that did come back to the school, but I don't think that the attendance was huge back in Rogers Heights. I don't believe.
Yeah. Are you hearing concerns from parents about sending elementary level students back if the vaccine isn't available? How do you think if we get when you look at the numbers for our county, it's so, you can't even believe how low the daily tests are, in this county and state. And, those numbers might start to trickle down to the single digits or maybe sometimes zero. I don't know how families are feeling if their children can't be vaccinated, even if those metrics are so good, because adults have been vaccinated.
I'm on a call weekly with the school. I hear more questions about, before they were sending their children to the school, before the school was opening to the students, I heard more questions about what if my child got sick? What were the steps that the school was going to take? More so than where can my child get vaccinated? I don't hear that question a lot about where can my child get vaccinated. I hear what are the precautions that we're taking. Yeah. So I don't know that parents really want their young children to get vaccinated. I don't think they're ready.
That's interesting. Are the
Yeah.
but the parents are getting vaccinated? Are you finding that the adults are getting vaccinated?
It's 50-50.
Mm.
I think it's 50-50. I know Hyattsville is really doing a huge push for it. Um, there's a huge push for it, but I still think it's still 50-50. I think we're doing better than we were before, but it's still 50-50. I don't know. What's the council? What do you think, Ms. Chester? What are you feeling? Because you're out there.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
gonna say that it seems like I have, I still have neighbors, primarily some of like the more recent kind of immigrant families.
Your volume is low.
I don't know how to turn up my microphone.
Come closer to the computer, maybe.
In my immediate neighbors, most of the kids have not been back to school. Parents are anxious for them to get back into school. They've been asking, some of the parents of older kids in particular are very curious about what kind of student activities are going to be available. Will there be sports? Will there be after school programs and things like that? They're curious about those kind of activities and how kind of normal or regular the school is going to be next year.
Okay, great. I could actually answer some of that because of the town hall that happened. The PGCPS website will have a recording of Dr. Goldson's town hall tonight, and all the questions you just asked, other parents asked. 20,000 attendees were on that call tonight. Dr. Goldson said sports. We did a limited sports program during hybrid, went very well in terms of safety and COVID. So she's expecting full return of every activity, the sports program, before and after care in every school that had it, except we've made it an operational change before and after care. Third-party organizations like the Y and Joe's Movement Emporium and others will now be contracted to come to the school buildings for before and after care. That's now an RFP process instead of an in-house program. So it's just operational, but every single school that had before and after care will start that back up. But Dr. Goldson said over and over that what every principal is planning is academically and activity full return. What they left and what they're coming back to. She said that the changes that students will feel is that there'll be more dedicated breaks around hand washing, more breaks around masking, maybe going outside to get a mask break. Things like that is what she said would be the changes, but otherwise to expect the curriculum and the activities to be the same. And the CDC has us down to 3-foot distancing, which makes that possible. We've been operating at 6 feet because we went back with only 30% of the students.
And they were also, one of my neighbors was saying that their relatives' kids in a different state are back in school and they just eat all their meals in the classroom rather than going to the cafeteria. And I guess that's likely, depending on the distancing.
Cafeteria. Yeah, that was answered tonight too. Cafeterias, it'll be the usual flow through a cafeteria as well. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the goal. I don't think anything's changed around, that all of us following, as many people as possible getting vaccinated, everyone continuing to follow. So, the masks and distancing that is in the school building will continue to make it safest experience possible. But, I'm proud of our county, where we are and where we're headed with vaccines, but we have a lot of neighborhoods that need clinics right in the walkable neighborhoods. And we're learning that. And Mayor Gann, I appreciate, what you noted about Hyattsville, because these community-based clinics are working. Northwest with PGCPS is moving a mobile clinic to different high schools, and they started on Monday at Northwestern. 300 vaccines between it was like 1:30 to 5:30 p.m. on Monday. 300 vaccinated residents, and I presume most of those were high school students and their families. So that it's working. These neighborhood clinics are working, and we all have to keep it up.
Absolutely, absolutely. I got my 16-year-old granddaughter out there, and I'm working on my 12-year-old.
Good.
I think she just about said yes. So gotta get them in there. So
Yeah.
thank you. We appreciate
Yeah.
the information.
Yeah, well, thank you all so much. And I don't know when you plan for in-person return, but when you do, I'd love to come back to town hall. But
Yeah.
in the meantime, I'd love to come back in August or early September when we have, more definitive look at what's happening. And sometimes it's good to come back early September when I could learn about how the bus routes are doing. Like, are there any back to school issues for the residents, so I could I'll definitely plan, no matter how you're meeting, to come back. But hopefully I'll see you at summer events, all the community events that are,
Yes.
we're now having many more, which I'm very excited about. So hopefully I'll see all of you in person, and just,
That's actually
outdoor.
about the time. We talked about it tonight, around September. We're looking at it.
Yeah. Well,
Yep.
great. Well, I'm going to listen to your next agenda item here, and then I'll depart after that. But thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you. So the next item, of course, is a very important item. Some of us have on our shirts, our Juneteenth shirts. It's our Juneteenth proclamation time. Juneteenth is a very important time. I have the proclamation celebrating Juneteenth, which is June 19th, 2021, as Juneteenth Independence Day in Edmonston. So I'll read the proclamation. All right. The town of Edmonston recognizes June 19th as an important date in the history of the United States. This date marks Juneteenth Independence Day. Whereas news of the end of slavery did not reach the frontier areas of the United States, in particular the state of Texas, until months after the conclusion of the Civil War, more than 2.5 years after President Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1st, 1863. And whereas on June 19th, 1865, Union soldiers led by Major General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston, Texas, with news that the Civil War had ended and that the enslaved were free. And whereas following that action, Juneteenth, Independence Day, became a day of celebration held to honor African American freedom while encouraging respect for all cultures. And whereas the faith and strength of character demonstrated the former slaves and the descendants of former slaves remain an example for all people of the United States, regardless of background, religion, or ethnicity. Now, therefore, I, Tracy R. Gant, Mayor of the town of Edmonston, Maryland, on behalf of the town council, staff, and residents, recognize June 19th, 2021, and therefore as Juneteenth Independence Day. And I encourage all residents to explore and learn and gain greater understanding of the history and heritage of Juneteenth celebration following the end of slavery, dated this 9th day of June, 2021. Thank you, staff and council. Yes. Thank you for staying for that. It's very important to us. Thank you. So at So do we need to take a motion for this proclamation? At this time, I'll accept a motion from the council to make this June 19th, our Juneteenth, our celebration for Juneteenth Independence Day.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you so much. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Aye.
Great. Motion approved. Thank you so much, council.
Mayor, can I just add that I lived in Texas for many years, and it was a relatively well celebrated event in the African American community in Texas, where I lived in San Antonio, same degree in Dallas when I lived there. It's really exciting to see that it's getting national recognition and that people are celebrating it much more widely than
Yes.
it used to be. And so I'm excited.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. So what were some of the things that occurred during that time, the celebration? So
Galveston is, it's an island just right off the southern Gulf Coast. It's sort of the chain of, among the chain of little islands along the Texas coast. And that's where the soldiers actually arrived and sort of noticed that people were still living in an enslaved state and were like, hey, you kind of missed the news. And so Galveston always has a big, like a multi-day festival on the island. And then Houston, which is sort of the biggest metropolitan area, they would have a parade some years and would have big, you know, like day-long celebrations, a lot of music, a lot of public speaking, and a lot of, I don't know, just, yeah, like a lot of like, you know, well-known local kind of celebrities and things, and would give speeches. And so they were usually like, I mean, a lot like a typical 4th of July celebration.
right. That wasn't widely publicized, you know?
No, I had never seen it celebrated outside of Texas.
Right.
And so
Yeah, this is good. This is really, really good. Thank you for that, Ms.
Sure.
Justin. Appreciate that. Thank you. Okay. So as we move forward to new business, it's the consideration of approval of the following minutes. It's our virtual work session meeting minutes from May 12th, 2021, and our virtual regular council meeting minutes from May 12th, 2021. At this time, I'll accept approval for those, a motion for those minutes.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you so much, Ms. McCulley. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Thank you so much, Ms. Chester. All in favor, please indicate by saying, I'm sorry. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Thank you. So the minutes have been approved. The next item is the consideration of agreement with EcoSite, Inc. for engineering services for CBT 2021 Gallatin Street Rain Garden Grant in the amount of $42,203. Mr. Barnes, would you like to expound on that?
Thank you, Mayor. And also, we need to go back to old business once this is complete. The agreement with
shoot, I did. Oh, absolutely.
the EcoSite agreement is for the engineering services for our Chesapeake Bay Trust grant that received for Gallatin. This is our partnership with the National Audubon Society, so we're very, very excited about that component and the Hispanic outreach that they'll be doing as part of it. This will include sidewalks for one side of the street down Gallatin, so we're also very excited about that as we design the rain gardens and the sidewalks to coexist. And obviously the sidewalks will be like our Decatur Street, using a pervious concrete or asphalt for that. So this is terrific. This just starts the process. It is completely funded by the grant.
Thank you so much. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, is there a second? It's the, yeah.
Are we,
Is there a second? It's
is the
just
motion to accept the agreement?
the agreement, yeah. That's what I was looking at. It's just the agreement, right? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right. So the old business. We are now going to, we have sent out our notice. We've allowed our community to chime in on our budget. And now it is time to adopt our budget for 2021-22. And at this time, I will accept a motion to adopt our budget for fiscal year 2021-22. Is there a motion to approve our 2021-22 fiscal year budget?
I move that we approve the fiscal 2021-2022 budget.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Ms. McCauley. Thank you, Ms. Chester. How do you vote, Ms. McCauley?
Yay.
How do you vote, Ms. Chester?
Yay.
How do you vote, Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Thank you. Our budget is approved. I want to thank all of you for coming out and meeting and all of your input. Thank you very much, Mr. Barnes and Chief, for your expertise and all of the work that you did on the budget. Thank you, Sue Ellen, for your work on the budget as well. You know, making sure we stay within our guidelines. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ms. Avery, for your work too on this budget. It's not an easy task, especially when we send things back and say, no, I want this, I want that, and all the questions that we have. Thank you. And Mr. Barnes, your creativity with the budget, you make it so smooth. What you've brought, you know, the book, and you love doing it though. That's the crazy thing. You know, the storytelling and all of that.
I'm a sick individual. What can I say?
Yeah, I mean, you love doing it. It's like you put that book together and we love it. I love it. So thank you very much for what you do with that. It's crazy.
No problem.
So thank you.
I appreciated this year the positive outlook and the many questions and the input on moving items around and changing things. I really thought there was great discussion. So thanks to each of you for making that happen.
And you really make it so much better when you kind of show us what we've done over the years, because it helps as we're setting the budget, you know, as we start looking at what can we do and so on. So showing us what we've done, it really helps tremendously. And a lot of times you keep doing things and you're like, oh, did we do that? Oh, did we do that? Yeah, so that's good. Thank you. And so the next item is the final consideration of ordinance 2021-OR-03 to amend our fiscal year 2021 annual budget. And these are things that we have, our line items that we've adjusted. Our current budget. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion that we approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 All right. All right. Motion has been approved and we will move on now. Already done that. And the next item is our police report and code report. Chief?
Thank you, Mayor. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I would like to go over our police department monthly statistic report. Please accept my report as submitted. For the month of May,
Excuse me. I'm gonna have to-
for the month of May, there were no homicides, no forcible rapes, no felony assaults, no burglaries, no auto thefts, no simple assaults. We had one theft and 3 theft from autos where tools were taken from a private vehicle around on 46th Avenue. We had a total of 4 crimes reported during the month of May. With respect to incidentals, there were 6 parking tickets written during the month, 148 moving tickets, 1 traffic arrest, no crime arrest, 250 premises checked, 57 traffic stops, 37 traffic impounds, 152 calls for police service, 3 recovered stolen automobiles, and 474 red light camera citations issued during the month. With respect to code enforcement during the month of May, municipal civil citations, there were 6. Violation warning letters, there were 10. 1 stop work order was issued. There were 15 vehicles impounded by code enforcement, 20 parking tickets, home and business inspections, 20, and 10 code violation follow-ups. And I just wanted to say that our code compliance officer, Mr. Beal, is doing an outstanding job making the rounds, looking for violations of our town ordinance and, following through on those initial contacts that he may have with individuals where we, had gone in to inspect a private home or a business. Just for your information, we served notice on this business at 4901 Buchanan Street where the owner, well, he's not the owner of the property, but he's leasing space. And he's got all kinds of trash, debris, car parts, and just an unkept lot. And this gentleman has no town license or permit from DPI authorizing him to work. So we've given him a stop work order, cease and desist letter that he has to vacate the premise by June 24th, 2021. So we're monitoring that. And if he doesn't come into compliance, we're going to take the next step in the process. But I just want everybody to know that we're working hard trying to adjudicate some of these issues that crop up during the course of the work month. While I was going over the monthly statistics, I noticed for the month of May, moving tickets, there were 148 tickets written by officers during the month. We haven't had that many tickets written in about 5 years in 1 month. And so these officers that are out are really, really being vigilant in the dispatch of their duties, identifying individuals who are passing these stop signs and, failing to yield right away and all these other kinds of violations that occur every day. So I just wanted to, recognize the officers for being vigilant in the dispatch of their police duty. we received a complaint about stop sign violation at Lafayette and Hamilton. And over the last 2 weeks, we've been doing a lot of enforcement, and we've written at least 24 moving citations from that stop sign alone at Lafayette and Hamilton Street. And we will continue to do that during peak times, and that is between 4 and 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. And the officers understand that's a special assignment. And at 4 o'clock, they just go up, sit on a side street, and when somebody passes the stop sign, they stop them and issue the violation notice. So I just wanted everybody to know that that's one of the things that we're working. Also, this is the last piece. Every Monday now, I'm referring to code enforcement as well as the police, we're focusing on abandoned and junk vehicles that some of our residents have in their driveway, in their yard, parked on the grass and other places in the town. The code enforcement officer will be citing those in violation after giving them an opportunity to move and or clean them up. And so Mondays are dedicated to, because we just have so many of them, paying attention to abandoned and junk vehicles on private property. And I'll try to provide as much information about our successes in this endeavor as we move forward. So that completes my report for the month of May. Thank you.
Chief, can I ask a follow-up question that occurred to me after we spoke earlier today and you mentioned this priority area? Does that include things like boats or trailers or or is it really just cars?
There's an ordinance for that too, but there's a separate ordinance for individuals working on cars, major repairs, and also an abandoned or junk vehicle. The individual's vehicle doesn't have tags or it's not running. The engine's out of the car. The car's been sitting for, 6 or 7 months. Those are the things that we're focusing on. But if we happen to see a property or someone, a resident or others, sees a boat or some other vehicle parked in a manner that violates the code of ordinance, we want to know about it. And we'll go in, we'll take a look at our ordinance. We'll give them a notification, hey, you can't park it here, you have to move it. So if anybody happens to have an address or see something they're not sure about, just send me a note. It could be a text, could be an email. And within the next 24 hours or so, we're going to look at it, make a determination, and I will follow up with you and let you know the fruits of our labor.
Thanks.
Okay.
There's a boat that you can see from the bike path, or not the bike path exactly, but kind of the extension of it. And I can't even tell whose backyard it's in, but I think it's been there, I guess, as long as I've lived here. I'm not even sure if the people that live there now are the owners of it.
Right. All right. Well, I'll get with you offline and you can tell me where you were on the bike path. Then I'll go up on the path and see if I see it, and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Mayor.
I was trying to figure out where on the bike path she saw the
It's
boat.
not the bike path, as you head towards Eco Farm. So it's on the levee, which is not exactly the bike path on that side.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's where I was. I'm sorry. All right. Thank you. Any other questions for the chief? All right, cool. Thank you very much, Chief. I wanted to say that it is noticed that the staff, your police officers, are making a difference. It is noticed. The activity in the office, it's noticed. So thanks. They're doing a good job. Mr. Barnes.
Well, first, we have a celebration with Avery. She was successful with her second grant with the ATHA folks, starting on the centennial celebration, focusing on creating a walking tour for here in the town that takes you to various sites and talks about those sites, and then also doing an oral history of our past and present and hopefully future. So hats off to her for that. She's getting ready to go to grant training, and so then she's going to jump off onto a really big grant. But we're really happy, really happy that she's doing that. Councilmember Chester has agreed to represent us on the AFTA board, and so we're excited to do that. Avery and I will fill in when she cannot participate there, but we appreciate Councilmember Chester stepping up for that. We have our first Port Towns subcommittee meeting for the bus conversation on Thursday at 2. So it should be interesting to hear about that. Our graduation caravan, Avery's worked really hard and with help from the mayor and others to identify our graduates here in the community. And I'll let Avery, if she's on there, tell you a little about what's going to occur there and how many we're recognizing. Maybe. Oh, unmute.
Okay, I guess that helps. Sorry about that. We have about 13 participants for Friday, and we have folks ranging from those who are being promoted to middle school to an individual who received their master's degree. So it's a wide array of folks, and people have provided information over a period of 6 weeks that we've been out there promoting this. And so we have a good number of people who are going to take part. So hopefully the weather will cooperate and we can get this done under dry circumstances, but we'll see how that goes.
Depends on what forecast we look at.
Yep, starting at 5 p.m. tomorrow evening, 5 to 7.
And thank you, Avery. I appreciate that. I would echo Chief's comments about our code community compliance officer, Eric. He's doing a wonderful job. We have 44 businesses out of 136 left to apply for their license for this coming year, and they need to do that by June 30th. And we have 21 rental licenses still yet to come in out of 48. So Eric is staying on top of that. I did tell him today that I would do a happy dance when the fence at the corner of Tanglewood and Buchanan is replaced, as he told me that they have gotten a permit to do that work, and he says it's going to look beautiful down there on that corner. So I told him 7 years later, and I'll do a happy dance in the street when that particularly occurs. The school board member, Pamela Boozer-Struther, she put in our chat the websites for both the boundary information she spoke about and the return plan. So this meeting is recorded. You can go back and get it off of our YouTube site, off of our website, and off of our Facebook if you want to get that information in the future and share with folks. As I think all of you were there, but we talked about we will return to in-person council meetings in September is our goal, with activities, our Hispanic Heritage event and our Unity Rally following after that to be in-person activities. And then finally, I'm going to ask Sue Ellen to just speak briefly about the rec center reopening. And I asked her to take a look at the agreement. She sent that over just a little bit ago with some language change, but I wanted her to just let you all know what her thinking was about that as we move forward with the rec center. Sue Ellen?
Sure. One of the things that you would look at is the there's still a pandemic going on, and there's no way to guarantee that people who are participating in an event, especially inside, are going to not catch the virus if they're not vaccinated, and children, a lot of children are not, although it's adults more than children that are subject to this. So the way that it's set up right now is that just the applicant file and signs the application and takes on certain responsibilities. And so I've added language in there, cleaned up some of the language, but added language that recognizing that in fact the pandemic is still going on and there's no guarantee that there will not be a virus present at any event with the public. My question was though, whether or not, depending on when you're going to do this, are you going to require a limitation with masking or vaccination or distancing or even in numbers, which any of which you can still do if you decide to do that, or will you be just allowing a group to come into the rec center and use it? Because it makes a difference.
Say that one more time.
You could still, as a requirement for using the facility, require that there be a limited number, that they wear masks, that they keep a certain distance, or that they be vaccinated. Any of those things could be required. I didn't know, and I couldn't tell from what was sent over to me whether you are still considering that, how soon you're going to be deciding to go ahead with this. Would it be something this summer? Are you going to wait until September like you are for your council meetings, in-person council meetings?
So is it possible, instead of making specific recommendations that might then change, is it possible to reference, like, people are advised that they should follow whatever the, county recommendations are, or CDC recommendations, something like that, so that then as those change, so then are the recommendations, so that we're not having to keep rewriting the terms to meet whatever the current recommendations are?
You can do that, and the county executive has been more conservative than the state just about all the way through this pandemic for very valid reasons. We could put wording in like that. I was just wanting to know whether you wanted to separately make any of those requirements. So yes, you can follow that. The only way for anyone who's participating to hold you harmless and to release you from liability is to have each person sign a waiver of liability, kind of like they make you do when you go skiing. And so you could do that. You haven't done that previously, but
yeah, that would require a staff person to be on site to achieve the waivers. The other issue is with the masking and the vaccination. That also would require a staff person on site to monitor that everybody does have a mask on and or a vaccination thing. So I don't believe, and I don't want to speak for the mayor and council, but I don't believe that was the intent. The intent was to open back and mitigate our liability as much as we can, understanding that we can't get waivers from everybody individually, and looking to start on July 15th. But I don't want to speak for them. Mayor and council are fully capable of expressing their opinion.
Correct. That policing part is difficult unless you require that the permittee police it. You could do that. In other words, the person who's getting the permit, who's running the event, is required to police the restrictions, if any, that you're putting in for use of the space. And I'm not recommending that you put anything in particular in your agreement other than a recognition that we're still in a pandemic and that you are not guaranteeing to anyone. And we'll probably also recommend that you put signs up to that effect, that that we do not control that, and so you're using it at your own risk.
And our suggestion would be vaccinated, mask off, or not vaccinated, mask on.
That's generally the advice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we could say that. You could say that in there, that that's the recommendation, that and they are to follow whatever the requirements are for that the county has placed.
Yeah.
But that it's a self-policing thing. And I think also putting up, use this facility at your own risk would be a good idea.
I think there might be, if we go on, I don't know what website, there might be signs that we can find that have that, because I believe that's what my my company found, and that's what they provided us, that have the mask on and the mask off.
Right.
And we could probably post that. We might find it with the county. They probably have it on their website.
And then if we sort of advise that they should follow, for example, you should follow the county guidance, then that way, if God forbid this winter things get a little dicey again and the county adds restrictions, we wouldn't have to make any changes because we're saying follow whatever the current guidance from the county is. And so if it becomes more restrictive, that's what they're going to follow. If it becomes less restrictive, that's what they should be following.
Right.
And we could hand them,
Possible?
we could hand them a handout that has that information on it, so that that person signing that rental can share that information, obviously, with the participants, or if they don't want to, that would, like Suan said, if we're putting the illness on the person renting the party, that room, that they've got to do this, this, and this, then that's what they do.
So I did send that over to you, Rod. I'm going to make some additions based on our conversation here.
I appreciate you getting it so that I could they have all got it, but I appreciate the conversation, so we could, because I was kind of going in the dark with what to recommend. So
you're not the only one, and a lot of places are starting to deal with this now too, and wanting to open back up again, but not quite sure what's the best way to go.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
All right. Council, Ms. Chester, do you have anything?
The only thing that's really come up is that I've been asked by some of the residents about some of the younger, kind of, again, more the recent immigrant folks asking like where they can get vaccinations. And so I was hearing the Ms. Is it Boozer?
Boozer.
Yeah, that she was saying that there are more now, like mobile clinics. And so maybe we can, when we see some of those coming to our area, just put out flyers for people, or put them in the newsletter or something, because I think there are still some people who do want to get the vaccination, but haven't quite navigated that yet.
We are sending, Hillary, we send out from Denise from County Exec Office's office. She sends out a flyer of all the locations, and we shoot that out through Constant Contact. So you've been getting that, the people that are, of course, on that.
Okay.
It's on Facebook and it's on our website. We can, try to do more of that, but they actually have the dates and locations. So she is really good at that.
I've seen the attachments. They usually have them also in Spanish. Maybe I can just come in and we can print off a bunch of copies.
Yeah.
We're gonna get better with our we're gonna get that
social media,
those, texting and that WhatsApp. We're gonna get that stuff. Yeah.
Especially the text.
We're gonna connect.
Especially the text alert. I think that would be really helpful to people. Yeah.
what we can
But
forward.
the county's doing a really good job of providing those in both Spanish and English, and wonderful, wonderful flyers, and we, we keep trying to pass them on. So
Yeah.
Avery will have it in the newsletter too. That'll be going out the end of the month.
I may come by and just, maybe we can print out some and I'll just
Okay,
have the
sure.
council and.
Sure.
Yeah, that's good. Mr. Johnson, did you have any concerns or anything?
No, I didn't have anything at the moment.
Okay. I wanted to just mention, I know Mr. Barnes just briefly mentioned about Memorial Day. Rick and Avery and Lindsay, if you could pass it on. I know that on Memorial Day, I just mentioned to do something a little different. And I just put it out there, the little different thing. And it was everything and then some more. It was wonderful. It was so well put together. It was more than I expected. And I wish Lindsay was here. I wish she was on to hear it. It was more than I ever expected. It was beautiful.
Beautiful.
And I mean beautiful. And I want to say to the council, your input was, Lindsay.
There she is.
Oh my goodness. It was beautiful.
Thank you.
It was amazing. I am just I look forward to the things that you're going to do in the future. I just thank you. Thank you for what you did. And the council, I don't know how you were able to get the council to do what they did, but you provide some type of comfortableness, and the council was able to, and Betsy's not on here, but what Betsy did with Taz, that was just a perfect touch. And I was there when Hillary sat on that desk and just free flowed so easily and came from her heart. And Mr. Johnson, what you provided, just thank you. Everybody just gave just so much, and it was just easy, and it was great. It was just a beautiful memorial dedication. It was just fantastic. So, and it was supposed to be different, and it was beautiful. So thank you, hugely thank you. I mean, it was top notch, and we just have to get it out there so it can be seen. We just have to get it out there, Rick. So it can be seen. So thank you, Avery and Rick, for producing Lindsay and providing her with this gift and teaching her. Yeah, it was. How about that? Thank you, Still Beach, for what you did. I greatly appreciate that. And the other thing I want to ask is, I just want to do a shout out and ask Mr. Barnes to shout out and say, how much do we have in grants thus far? Because Miss Avery is adding onto that as well. So go ahead and give us a total of our grants.
We just reached $2,300,000. So that is outstanding in our efforts for sure. And we're going to get lots more to come.
Yes. Because, we can't do it with our budget alone. Grants help us do what we do. So thank you. Thank you for that hard work and enjoying doing it. I mean, you got to enjoy it. It's not easy, and thank you.
There are times.
Yeah, there are times trying to put those things together, but thank you for managing it honestly and doing the work. So thanks so much. I appreciate you all. And with that, if no one else has anything else, I will accept a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Guess it's just me and Mr. Johnson.
Say what?
The only one that has to go home really is Mr. Barnes.
All right. I move that we adjourn this meeting.
So you guys don't want to go home?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, you're home, but you don't want to leave the meeting. I know it's a peaceful meeting and we're enjoying each other's company, but we can talk after we adjourn. So somebody has to make a motion between Mr. Johnson and Ms.
Oh, no,
Chester.
I move that we adjourn.
Well, I make a motion with adjournment.
And I
Okay,
second.
now you're gonna do it at the same time. Okay. So I will accept it from Ms. Chester and second by Mr. Johnson. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 All right, thank you. This meeting is now adjourned.